Listen now, we the talk around town. Alex threw the ball to Smokey for a touchdown. Ha. It's fourth down and you don't really want no more. We've been winning from the door. You should check the scoreboard. Ha. Check the scoreboard.
Welcome back to another episode of the Scoreboard. We have all the Week 6 NFL predictions for you coming up, as well as some betting advice. So if you're a man of the money, you'll stick around for the end of the show to get some betting advice. Easy $10, guaranteed, put them in the bank, 100% picks from me, yours truly. But first of all, Smokey, how are you doing today?
Man, I'm good. I'm better than Jets fans right now.
You really didn't take that opportunity to take a shot at Niners fans this week? I thought you were going with that.
Man, I didn't want to. I didn't want to hurt your feelings, man.
It would have been appropriate for sure.
I kind of referenced to that last week, but
that's true.
Actually, I just made fun of you when we were doing the pick 'em. I didn't really do it in the opening, so okay, I'm going to take this back then. I'm doing much better than 49ers fans right now.
True. I can confirm that.
You know why, though? Because we're losing also, but we're used to it. You guys are not used to losing.
I guess. I guess. I suppose that's true, but still, like, we have people starting on defense that I've never heard their names of, all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough out there. We'll get to that when we'll get to that.
That's the entire team, except for, like, you got, like, 2 or 3 stars, and then the rest are all practice squad guys on other teams. Like, that's the entire team.
It's incredible.
Like, I don't even...
It's crazy.
Tell you the truth, I don't know why they were winning in the first place, but, it's offensive genius.
Well, last year they weren't hurt. Like, last year was the Eagles that was hurt. Like, this year is the Niners, just as bad.
Yeah, well, Super Bowl hangover.
Yeah, I guess, maybe. But let's get into the predictions here. So if we're starting off with what looks like a banger, but kind of deteriorated over the years a little bit, we have the Broncos at the Patriots.
Oh, man. Broncos at the Patriots. You know, the Broncos look better and Drew Lock is coming back. It's about all the good things I can say about them. The Patriots... You know what?
Let me interrupt you real quick. 1 second. We have actually forgotten something. You have to announce the scores of last week because I still don't know. You're still with that.
True.
We forgot that.
Let's see here. I actually had 9 correct picks and you had 7.
Wow, that's terrible.
Like I was saying off air, you know, the home teams went 9-5 this week. You had 6 away team picks, and most of them, if not all of them, were not the right ones. No, you had the Rams right. That was the only away team that you picked correct. So, yeah, brings the total to 50.5 for me and 47.5 for you.
I got catching up to do.
Yeah,
big time catching up to do. Fair enough.
Let's
get into the Denver and New England game.
Okay, well, Drew Lock most likely comes back this week from all reports so far, and also does Cam Newton. Do you want to get into a conspiracy theory really quick here?
Yes, please. I need one.
That the moving of the games really does fall conveniently in the Patriots' lap, right? So that they could get. Okay. I mean, they had a disastrous game with their with their backup quarterback, right? So,
breaking news: Bill Belichick engineered COVID in his basement. It is.
I wouldn't go that far now. I'm just saying he probably persuaded a game to get moved or two.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
So he had more of a chance of having his star quarterback back for this game because he would much rather be playing the Broncos right now with Cam Newton than playing last week with another Hoyer or Stidham game, you know. But either way, I think Cam Newton being back, they're in New England. I'm going to go with the Patriots at home here.
Yeah, listen, this matchup was an AFC Championship game, like what felt like every year for a long time. It was Peyton and Brady. We thought Denver would be good this year. They would be a lot better. We thought New England would be a lot worse. The exact opposite is true. New England is really good, and with Cam Newton, their offense actually looks more dynamic than it has in over a decade. And Bill Belichick is still there. Defense is still there. Even with the holdouts, the Patriots are great. and the Broncos have somehow not found their rhythm at all. Now, Drew Lock is going to be back, and it could be a bounce-back game. Worst team to come back from a pause against as a young quarterback, probably New England. I'll take the Patriots at home, and they're going to win the game easily. Got the Texans at the Titans.
Texans, Titans. Whew, the Tuesday night Titans at that, man. Who saw that one coming? Well, it's not really a conspiracy theory here, but the Titans were practicing the entire time that they were supposed to not be practicing. And I think everybody knows it by now, and we're going to wait for whatever punishment comes out of that. But I felt bad for the Bills, man. Whew, that was a tough one. Texans, I said they're going to get the 2-game bump, but they are going on the road against a very tough Titans defense. And the Titans are just on top of the world right now. Not even COVID can stop them, apparently. Dude, I don't know. Titans may be Super Bowl bound for all we know at this point. Although I do think if they play the Bills again, the Bills kind of overlooked it and they just ran into a buzzsaw. I think the Bills would take them in the next game. And then that might happen in the playoffs. I'm going to take the Titans at home because, yeah, I want to say the Texans are going to get another one because there's usually that 2-game bump. But I think the Titans are just too tough at this moment.
Yeah, I think the Texans got their win, which is more than many even expected, and I will agree with you there. Titans are going to win. I will say one thing, though, and I've seen so many people take a crap on the Titans for violating those protocols, and they're calling for the Titans to have just games forfeited, and here's the deal, right? If you don't get to practice for 2 weeks, you don't get together as a team at all for 2 weeks and study, you might as well not play, because there's no way you're winning a game if you're not practicing for 2 weeks during the season. You're not doing any preparation activities as a team. So I can understand their philosophy. If we're gonna play, we need to practice. We need to get ready for it, and if not, we might as well not play. But that being said, they did overcome the whole situation really well. A lot of inactives, obviously, but they still managed to win the game, and a big game it was. You mentioned against Buffalo. Nobody saw that coming. I certainly didn't. And Ryan Tannehill, I saw a stat recently. Ryan Tannehill is matching up with Lamar Jackson's campaign, basically stat for stat. So he's on a good road right now. He's doing well. That entire offense is clicking. A.J. Brown is back in the lineup. Titans are looking ferocious, I'll have to say. So I'm going to pick them for sure over Houston. I'm not going to make the mistakes of picking that bounce back too heavy. I might go back to it later, but I haven't actually decided on that yet. But you know what game I'm talking about. We'll get there. But the Texans streak here is over, if you can call it that, and Titans win. Browns at Patriots.
Oh, man. Browns at Patriots. What are the Broncos?
Did I say Patriots? No.
Yeah, you said Patriots. Browns at Colts.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I was like, hold on, it's the Broncos and Patriots. I
completely misspoke. It's Cleveland at Pittsburgh.
Yes. I actually said the Colts. That's the Bengals and the Colts. But the Browns and the Steelers, man, both of these teams look really good right now. I can't see the Steelers dropping this one, especially at home, but I do think this will be closer than anyone expected at the first of the season, although Baker Mayfield is still, in my eyes, a disappointment. I don't think he's having the breakout season, even though the Browns are winning as a team. I don't see Baker Mayfield as being the big part of that. I mean, he is a part of that, but he's not, like, putting the team on his back or anything, He's not carrying this team to victories. It's all the running game there.
Are you still on Baker, or are you describing Tom Brady right now? Because I would not consider Tom Brady a disappointment.
No, but I think Brady's doing more for the Bucs to win right now than Mayfield is doing for the Browns to win.
Okay. Has he been doing that in New England the whole time? Whenever he wasn't a disappointment?
Brady? No, I mean, he's definitely had seasons where he put the team on his back, I mean, the Super Bowl against the Falcons, I mean, definitely had times where he just loaded up and did it all himself, but usually that was after, blowing 3/4 of a game and then coming back to prominence after that. But anyway, that running game for the Browns is going to run into the steel curtain there. And Steelers just look really good. I mean, and Big Ben's not setting the world on fire either, but he is doing exactly what he needs to do to win, and they have a much better defense since it's in Pittsburgh. I'm going to go with the Steelers. But like I said, it's going to be a close game, I believe.
It is going to be a close game. I like the comparison you made there. Those quarterbacks, they're both doing what they need to do to win, and they have incredible teams around them. Browns have a ferocious running game. Steelers can run the ball. Both teams have good defense. The Steelers have an outstanding defense. Steelers are leading. I believe they are leading the league in quarterback pressures through 5 weeks, having only played 4 games, which is incredible. You have T.J. Watt and I think Stephon Tuitt at number 5 and 7 across the entire league in terms of pressures, which is unheard of. So the Steelers' pass rush is ferocious, and they're going to get to Baker Mayfield quite a bit. Now the Browns are going to try and take the air out of the ball big time. I will pick the Steelers in a close one because I think the defense can make that extra stop. Now the defense didn't play well against the Eagles, but we saw what happened whenever that goes down. They picked it up on offense. Chase Claypool went absolutely crazy. I believe he's phenomenal, and he's going to only get better from here. There just too many mismatches all over the field. You got Juju, you got Claypool now, and you got a running game to worry about with the Steelers. I don't think the Browns secondary is going to be up to that task, so I'll take the Steelers to score just enough points if their defense were to get ran over by Beckham and Jarvis Landry a little bit, but I got the Steelers because I trust them. I think the team is a little bit more solid than Cleveland overall. Mm-hmm. So far we agree on everything here. Looking at Baltimore and the Eagles.
Well, I mean, I suppose we're going to agree on this one also. I mean, the Eagles, even though they've gotten a win and a tie in at that, and probably still leading the division with that. But the Ravens, man, Lamar Jackson, regression has hit Lamar Jackson, like everyone said, and I wasn't sure at the first of the season if it was going to happen this season, but it has. Yes, I mean the trends and cycles never lie. Actually, sometimes they do, but not in this case. But the Ravens still have a defense that can go out and win. That the defense can just win this game all by themselves. They're gonna get to Carson Wentz. They're gonna, man, I feel bad for Carson Wentz. They're gonna put one over. Yeah, the Ravens on the road. There's not much else to say about that.
I will agree with what you said. I will have one addendum to this, though. This is not the last time we mentioned this game today, so we'll get back to this later because I have some betting ideas for this particular one. Right. For now, though, I'll definitely pick the Ravens, so that they're the overall just a better team. The Eagles have the potential, but I really, really currently dislike the way that they play zone coverage, and they play a lot of it. So the defense has to get it together, and playing zone is weak against what? Running quarterbacks.
Yes.
And well-designed offensive plays.
And tight ends.
Lamar Jackson is going to have... And tight ends. So Lamar Jackson is going to have a fun time against this defense, most likely. I got the Ravens to win it. Mm-hmm. Washington, the Footballs at the Giants.
Football team. Wow. This is dumpster fire bowl right here, man. This might be the first dumpster fire bowl of the season. Yeah, the Tank Bowl.
Yeah.
Who needs Trevor Lawrence more? The so-called star quarterback who has been set, or the star quarterback who is soon to be set, maybe? I don't know, man. I think the Giants probably have just a little more to prove, and maybe, I don't know, man. I really don't know. This is a tough one. I was thinking, one of these teams is definitely tanking. I think they're both tanking at this point. I mean, I think Washington definitely wants a new quarterback, right? So I'm going to pick the Giants to win this one at home. And my reasoning is that the football team wants a new quarterback more than the Giants does.
Man, this is one of the games where I'm really having a hard time picking a winner.
Yeah.
So what I'm gonna do is actually, to come to a decision, I'm gonna pick a loser instead, because it's just easier to look at. I'm gonna pick Washington to lose the game.
Yeah.
So I'm picking the Giants to win the game. I think the Giants look really good against Dallas for a long time actually, and they might as well have won the game, which would have been quite a surprise, and if that were the case, we'd have been looking at this upcoming game very differently. Dwayne Haskins seems to be just out on Washington. I don't think he'll see another start this season. Ron Rivera does not trust him, does not want him around. He might be gone. He might be out of Washington by the deadline. So he's not going to be a factor anymore. You know what? I would not be surprised if in a couple of weeks we just have Alex Smith, just the regular old starting quarterback for Washington. Kyle Allen still has the job. We know that he can play. We know that he can also mess it up. Alex Smith is a proven veteran, and just the fact that he is back and taking snaps and he's playing is phenomenal. Obviously, just goes to show the advancement of medicine with the exact Joe Theismann injury, who never played again for the same team, ironically. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him play, and I think Washington is really the front runner team for a new quarterback now. You look at all the terrible teams, the Jets, the Giants. The only thing that they have is the quarterback somehow, but not much else. So I think that Washington is really the team that needs a new quarterback the most at the moment, unless Kyle Allen somehow breaks out, and I think they're going to lose the game. Because the Giants have higher upside, so I'm gonna pick them to fulfill their potential finally at home. Falcons at Vikings.
Man, Tank Bowl number 2, huh? Actually, at least these guys have offenses that can put up points. Whereas the last game we talked about, these guys are not even putting up points. But then again, the Falcons' offense is headed on a downward spiral, and maybe that'll change now that Dan Quinn is gone. Maybe that'll change now that Thomas Dimitroff has been fired. Raheem Morris. I almost said Mostert, like he's the new coach or something. But Raheem Morris
the running
takes
game
over.
Coordinator.
Yeah, exactly. But he's going to take over as the coach, and usually I like to say that these teams get a 2-game bump from changing coaches, man. But for some reason I just don't feel it. Even though I would like to see it because it's the Falcons, I just don't feel that right now. I feel like they're going to continue losing. I don't think Raheem Morris is not going to change that. I don't think so. I mean, I think our best bet now at this point, unless we were to just come out on fire and win out, that's the only way we're going to make it to the playoffs at this point. I mean, we're 0-5. So I think our best bet is to just continue to tank and hope for Eric Bieniemy and draft Justin Fields or something next season. And not that I think that Matt Ryan is done or anything. But I think if we get Eric Bieniemy, that Justin Fields is going to be his type of quarterback much more than a Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan can move over to the Colts or something, whatever, and be absolutely fine. But, I just think that's the perfect plan for the Falcons. So, with that being said, I'm picking the Vikings to win here at home.
I'm going to make this short and simple. Before I calm myself once again into picking the Falcons, I take Minnesota. Lock it in. Do not let me change my opinion. I've picked the Falcons for the first 5 weeks. Each time with a new, different reasoning. Yeah. And I've psyched myself into doing every single, not happening anymore. I don't care about coach firing. The defense is terrible. And Kirk Cousins is going to put 40 points on that defense. Anyone could put 40 points on that defense. I'll take the Vikings, and that's all I have to say about, I think, Dalvin Cook. The offensive weapons are just way too much to handle. Some of the Falcons aren't really getting it done. Don't understand it with the talent on the roster. I think the best thing for the Falcons right now is probably the fact that their rebuild won't last very long, because the roster is talented, just managed horribly. So with proper handling, they could be good again next year or the year after. It won't take very long, But this year, I'm not buying it anymore. I'm out on the Falcons. I'll take the Vikings. And I would like to finally be right on that game for once. So I'm going to take the Vikings. Detroit Lions at the Jaguars.
Lions at the Jaguars. Now, this was, tough on the surface, too. They both have the same record. Well, actually, Lions had a bye week, due to circumstances. They both have one win, and the rest are losses. So, just looking at this from the outside, the Lions have a decent defense. A decent offense also. They're capable of putting up points. And Jacksonville has allowed 30-plus points in the last 4 straight games. And the Lions have not been allowing that much points. And we've seen the Jaguars, after the first game of the season, actually go downhill step by step each game. So I think the Jaguars still have a decent run game going on with their undrafted free agent there. And they still have their 6th-round quarterback who is capable of putting up points. But I do think the Lions are going to edge them out in this game. So I'm going to pick the Lions on the road.
This is a tough one for me to really pick. Jacksonville somehow still puts out 11 people on defense, though I don't know any of them. And Detroit is underachieving as they are every year. They should have beaten the Saints, ended up not doing it. They won one game, which was impressive against the Cardinals. Big standout. I made a whole video. I said they're going to be good. They have the potential. I think Detroit is probably in for a coaching change come the end of this year, and a breath of fresh air. I just don't see it getting done. That being said, for this matchup, I actually decided before the show I was gonna pick whatever you didn't. So you picked the Lions. I'm gonna go with the Jaguars because I need to make up points.
All right.
I have no opinion on this game, barely. I have no good intuition about this game. To me, it's a coin flip. I will take the Jaguars just to make a point on you. That's all I'm caring about for this one. Bengals at Colts.
Bengals at Colts, man. The Colts defense is surprisingly good here. And the Bengals we saw just got whooped. They got utterly whooped in that last game, man. They looked bad for Joe Burrow.
That is true.
Now, I do believe Joe Burrow is legit. But I also picked this team to only have 4 wins at the end of the season. So they may end up with 5 or 6, but I don't see them getting much more than that. But I do think the team is going to get better from here on out. The Colts, they have a great defense. They have a decent run game. I guess the passing game is pretty much dead. Here and there, Phillip Rivers is still hitting downfield. T.Y. Hilton was actually relevant in this past game for the first time this season, probably for the first time since the middle of last season. With that being said, I gotta take the Colts at home here. I don't see the Bengals winning this one.
I completely agree with that. Colts are fundamentally a very solid team. They're doing good. They're not as good as I expected them to be, and they really live and die in that sense with the quarterback. Phillip Rivers has to step it up a couple notches maybe to make this truly a contender, especially with the top of the AFC being surprisingly stacked this year. You got Pittsburgh, Buffalo, who are excelling that we didn't expect necessarily in that sense, and you got New England, Kansas City, Baltimore all still around, so the AFC playoff picture is going to be incredibly stacked. If the Colts want to have a serious part in that, you got to step it up a little bit, but they should beat the Bengals. It starts this weekend, and they definitely can't afford to lose this game, so Indianapolis all the way. Bears at Panthers.
Bears at Panthers. Panthers are trending up. Bears, I still don't believe that the Bears are as good as their record. You can say what you want, man, that the Bears are legit. The Bears have won every single game by one drive, by one offensive run, by one score, basically. They're not as good as their record. I don't get why people are on the Bears like they're going to the Super Bowl this season. The Panthers, however, surprisingly, maybe the best team in the NFC South when everybody had them in the number 4 slot for this season. And Teddy Bridgewater, man, you're gonna have to give props to JJ because he said that Teddy Bridgewater is actually going to be good this season. Nobody,
not everyone had the Panthers at 4.
Exactly. Nobody believed that. Nobody believed that he could take this team that has been horrible over the past season and a half, and actually
without Christian McCaffrey.
For the most part. But they're winning now. I mean, they're winning. They're playing good. They're putting up lots of points. I think the Panthers go up to Chicago and run over the Bears. Do something that Tom Brady couldn't do.
So the game is in Carolina, actually, but
yeah,
make that much of a difference anyway.
I wrote
with
wrote them up backwards.
A quarter stadium of fans, it's not that much of a difference.
Yeah.
Man, you know what? I'm going to stay in the shadows one more week. I will stay ignorant on the Panthers for one more week and be stubborn a little bit. I'll pick the Bears. The defense of the Bears is the final test. If Teddy Bridgewater puts up 3 touchdowns total on that defense and he goes in and wins the game, I'm with the Panthers. If Christian McCaffrey comes back, I'm buying Panther stock. Right now, I'm still going to go with the Bears. Though I definitely can see your point, and I think you probably are making the correct pick, like objectively, logically, but I believe in the Bears for one more week, and I'm hoping that this is going to pay off. The courage for picking the Bears should pay off. Jets at Dolphins.
Jets at Dolphins. Man, how good are those Dolphins, bro?
Apparently they're really good. Who would have thought?
Apparently they are, man. Jesus, they're much like the Panthers, man. Yeah, I mean they're doing it with old school quarterbacks that have bounced around from team to team. You know, yeah, Jesus, they look legit against the 49ers. Either the 49ers completely fell apart or the Dolphins are legit at this point. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Fitzpatrick come out and throw a 4 interception game. I can't talk today for some reason. I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen at this point because that's what Fitzpatrick does. You know, he'll just be amazing 2 to 3, 4 games and then just be horrible for a game or two. But the Jets are the worst team in the league. This may be the Trevor Lawrence home to be. Yeah, it may not be the Washington football team or the Giants. It may be the Jets because the Jets maybe don't win a game this season. And I don't even think they were attempting to tank. I think it's just happening. I think this is a forced tank. I mean, either way, Adam Gase has to be fired at some point, right? I mean, Le'Veon Bell's gone. Not that that was going to help him win anything because it's a Adam Gase offense. It's the worst offense ever known to man. This guy couldn't go win games at a high school as a head coach. The Dolphins are going to win this one at home easily.
I got a fun fact for you. So over the year of 2020, the New York Guardians have won more games at MetLife than the Jets and Giants combined. The New York Guardians of the XFL. That's one. Secondly, yes, we know that Ryan Fitzpatrick has explosive days. He can go between MVP and getting fired, basically, on back-to-back weeks. That's how he plays. I will tell you the real reason why he looked as good as he did, though, last week, is because you and I were the starting cornerbacks for San Francisco last week. It was horrible. Everyone would have thrown for 500 yards on them. And that's not to take away from the Dolphins. I think they're an underrated team, and I think they have a bright future. Tua is learning exactly how he's supposed to, and there's probably not a better mentor in the NFL than Ryan Fitzpatrick. That all being said, we're talking about the Jets, so the decision whether or not the Dolphins are over or underrated isn't really relevant because you basically took it away when you said the Jets are the worst team in the league right now because they are the worst coach team in the league, and the Dolphins are at home. They're going to win the game easily. Everything else would be a shock. I don't think the Jets win before Adam Gase is fired. As a matter of fact, he should. I mean, we said this the last 2 weeks. If they lose this week, they'll surely fire him. It still hasn't happened. Somehow the standards for the Jets seem to be lower than for other teams because the Falcons are arguably in a better situation than the Jets, and they fired their head coach. Same goes for the Houston Texans. So once again, I'll say, I think Adam Gase is going to be out after this one, after Ryan Fitzpatrick puts a whooping on him. So Dolphins win. Green Bay at Tampa Bay.
And as you were saying before we started recording, obviously Vegas has this as a toss-up here, right?
This is the, as far as I'm aware, first complete pick'em of the season.
Maybe they're just looking at, hey, this is Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers. Maybe that's what they're thinking. Because if you look at the overall body of work from these two teams, one of them clearly has an advantage here. Like the Bucs, yeah, they're playing okay. They're decent. But the Packers have been playing, Aaron Rodgers has been playing MVP level. And guess what? Devontae Adams comes back this week. And I don't care if the Bucs, if Tom Brady has Chris Godwin and Mike Evans out there on the field. I think Aaron Rodgers and the Packers are just overall better. Or at least with Aaron Rodgers, he makes the Packers better than the Bucs are with Tom Brady. Maybe the talent level is not there because draft capital is completely shifted toward the Bucs side of the field there. But I just think the Packers are overall better. I don't even know why. I would give the Packers by 6.5 here, man. I don't get it.
That is big. You should maybe bet on them. I actually refrained from betting on this game because I think I got better value in other games. But in terms of the pick, I will agree with you. The straight-up pick against the spread, I will take the Packers to win the game. The Bucs probably have more firepower in total on offense, all things considered. If you have Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones and Keyshawn Vaughn and that receiving core, of course, O.J. Howard is a big loss, but you still have Gronk who can, he's got the name Gronkowski on his jersey, so they will put focus on him whenever he's running a route once a game. But the Packers have Aaron Rodgers, and that really seems to be all you need when Aaron Rodgers is playing the way that we know he can, and he's done so many times in the past. The Packers are currently the number one team in the NFL.com power rankings, and we noted throughout the entire offseason that they have gotten actively worse at everything they do throughout free agency and the draft. They didn't pick up a single receiver. Devontae Adams is still the only guy there who makes plays. They run the football okay, but not great. They didn't greatly improve the defense. This is all Aaron Rodgers. This is how absurd it is to realize how good this player actually is. And he's going to go to Tampa Bay, and he's going to win the game, in my opinion. It's going to be a good one, though. I'm expecting it to be pretty close because Tampa Bay will put up points. They have firepower, and the Green Bay defense isn't necessarily built to match that sort of firepower, especially if Tampa manages to run the ball well and establish it early. It's going to be a close one. Packers win, though, because Aaron Rodgers is simply, he's amazing. Moving to Monday night, we have 3 more games left in Monday night. First one, got the Rams at the Niners.
Man, Rams at the Niners. Now, if you would have asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have had a completely different answer here. But after seeing that game, and you explained it all, you explained exactly what the problem is. And Garoppolo's probably not even playing here from what I'm hearing. So it's up to Nick Mullins to come back and save this team, or Beathard maybe. I don't know, man. But obviously nobody's playing well at this moment. So the Rams are still holding steady. They are an above mediocre team at this moment. And I'm not saying they're back to their Super Bowl caliber team, but they are completely above mediocre. So I'm going to go with the Rams to take this one on the road.
I will agree with that. And I'm going to say something, and I will admit this. I'm going to be completely honest. Had I known the amount of defensive starters that were out for the game last week, I would have picked the Dolphins. I would have picked Miami to win that game, because what I've seen in that game was some of the absolute worst pass defense ever. It was terrible. And once you're down 21-3 in the first quarter, your offense with a returning quarterback isn't going to do much about it, and they're going to start forcing the ball down the field. Mistakes lead to more mistakes, and say what you want, but Jimmy Garoppolo is still not 100%, unfortunately. I thought they were being careful with him when they held him against the Eagles. I thought he was ready, but they didn't think they'd need him. The ankle is such a tough injury for a quarterback, leg injuries in general, because the lower body is a more important part of a quarterback's pass than the upper body. Paradoxically enough, a lot of people don't realize this, but the torque is generated exclusively from the lower body. It starts with the plant step, with the foot, and then the hip rotation, and then the follow through. The arm does the accuracy, but the shoulder can't work if the torque isn't there and the ball placement isn't there, and the throwing motion is off from the start. Can't work. So quarterback's feet have to be healthy, and it was clearly visible. Like that was not an accurate. Those weren't accuracy mistakes. He overthrew people by 15 yards. That is a fundamental problem in the throwing motion that happens when he just can't make his motion. He can't step the same way that he typically would. So if there's any inclination of that, keep him out. There's no reason to throw him out if he can't throw the ball properly. That's first priority. Either of the other two guys healthy will do better. That being said, the Rams look better than we thought. Everyone is still hurt. The pass rush is gone that we saw last year with the top three pass rushers. Bosa, Ford, and Solomon Thomas are all out for this game. And as a matter of fact, they've been out for a while. So no pass rush coming except for Eric Armstead, who's getting triple teamed every snap. And Richard Sherman's still out. Akello Witherspoon out. Emmanuel Mosley out. The top three cornerbacks and the top three pass rushers are out for the game and have been out for a while. This defense can't stop a nosebleed, so we see a complete transition from last year at the moment. As long as that's the case, I don't feel confident picking them, so I'm going to go with the Rams here, which sucks, but that's what I have to go with because the division is tough, so the Rams should win it. We have the Chiefs at the Bills.
Chiefs at the Bills, man. Both of these teams were playing excellent football. Both of these teams were winning. Both of these teams walked into a buzzsaw last week, and it is what it is. Now, one of these teams is going to bounce back and continue winning from this point. One of these teams is going to have 2 losses by the end of this week. And which one it is, that is really tough. Because, you know what, man, after this game, I actually had people saying, I don't think Josh Allen's as good as you were saying he is now. I mean, obviously, he was playing horrible. I do not blame that game on Josh Allen. I saw plenty of throws that were dropped. I mean, yes, he does need John Brown out there, but I saw throws that were on the money that were dropped last night. I saw a horrible defense who couldn't cover a tight end for anything. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, man, I don't know, man. Sean McDermott, like, whatever your 4-3 defense is, you're going to have to figure out how to cover tight ends. Because Jonnu Smith destroyed the Bills last night. Man, I don't know, dude. I think they're going to get back on track, though. I will say this. They're playing in Buffalo this time. The Chiefs, the Chiefs are probably their toughest test of the entire season, or at least I would have said that before the Titans game. But I'm going to go ahead and continue with my take lock and say that the Bills are going to win this because I have predicted such high hopes for the Bills. And I wouldn't be surprised if they don't, but this is a really tough game to predict. I'm going to go with the Bills, though.
Man, it is a tough one to predict. It doesn't happen a lot. I like Josh Allen a lot. It doesn't happen a lot that he actually faces a quarterback who is probably even better than him. Mm-hmm. This is one of those moments because Patrick Mahomes is still phenomenal, obviously. Without further ado, the best player in the league. And Aaron Rodgers is currently trying to contest that again. But it's a tough one to pick. And in terms of the blaming for the Titans' loss, I largely agree with you. You had drops, you had deflected interception, and a defense that is, like Josh Norman, is getting memed on by everyone. And it really should be the entire defense, not just Josh Norman.
Yes.
Because they play terrible. I will remind everyone that 4-3 linebackers are coverage specialists. That's what the defense is designed to do. You bring pressure with 4 people. Your linebackers are supposed to be zone coverage specialists. Against a 34, different story. But 43 linebackers need to cover. That's their main job. 34, you stuff the run first. In a 43, you need to be able to cover. Didn't happen whatsoever. With that trend maybe continuing, I don't know if it will, but I saw some dangerous mistakes there from Buffalo. I trust the Chiefs offense to be able to exploit that with potentially even more firepower than the Titans. You compare the receivers, the tight end, you have Travis Kelce, you have Tyreek Hill, who seems unstoppable, and Josh Norman is a shell of his former self. We knew that before the game, actually, but I have the Chiefs. I'll take the Chiefs to win the game. It's going to be a close one. It's at Buffalo, and I would not be surprised to see this again in the playoffs. I'm going to say it's going to be a bit of a reality check for the Bills. The AFC is stacked, like I mentioned. They're not going to walk through everybody, and they're going to get back-to-back memos about how good this conference is this year, and they have to step up their game a little bit from what we've seen last week. So I go with the Chiefs, and looking forward to a good game, though. And then we have Tuesday night. Got the Cardinals at the Cowboys.
Man, Andy Dalton Cowboys at that. I feel bad for Dak, though, man. That was horrible.
Oh, yeah, that sucks.
That was one of those bone outbreaks right there. The bone is outside of the skin. Jesus. The Cardinals, man, I just keep thinking about that break. That's horrible. But hey, if anything, Alex Smith can help him out there, and he can see that people do come back from those injuries these days, and he should be able to play again. In as young as he is and in the shape he is, it may even be next season for all we know.
I think it will be. He's it's a very different injury too. Like, as bad as it sounds, but he's lucky that it was his foot, and not his knee, because no matter how bad a bone breaks, there's just only so much damage ligament wise and tendon wise that it can do in a foot joint. But if you rip up your knee, that's a whole different can of worms. So in that sense, it's not that type of a severe injury. He's going to be out for the season. The recovery time is 4 to 6 months. The season's over by then, but he'll be back for next year. But go ahead with your pick.
Yeah, it just scared me when they said the bone came out. Like, ish. But yeah, I'm going to pick the Cardinals because I think Andy Dalton is actually going to be serviceable to the team. He's not a bad backup to have. I mean, there's only a couple in the league that are better to have on your team as far as a backup. But the Cowboys were not winning with Dak. So I don't see that. I don't see them changing their luck by going to Andy Dalton. The Cardinals have been serviceable. Another barely above mediocre team, much like the Rams, maybe not quite as good as the Rams at this point. But Kyler Murray and the Cardinals, I see them going to Dallas and rolling over the Cowboys in this one.
It's a tough pick to make because the Cowboys should have lost that game, especially after injury, and they were down to the Giants. I thought they were going to lose. They rallied back. Andy Dalton played okay, and they made it happen. Cardinals might have been a bit overrated after the first 2 weeks, but then again, we know how explosive they are. I'm going to say it's going to be a bit of a slump, a bit of a reality check for the Cowboys, and they are going to lose that game. They haven't been a very good team, so even with Dak Prescott, this would still be up for debate because, frankly, the Cowboys have not been a good team so far. And I'm not sure that they're better than the Cardinals at all, even with a full starting personnel. And with Andy Dalton just flat out being a downgrade at this point in his career, that's just how it is compared to Dak Prescott. I think the Cardinals go in and win the game. So I will agree with you on that. We had a couple of disagreements. I feel pretty good about the ones we did have, though. I think I can make at least a point or maybe two up on closing down on your lead for the season, which is important too because it's already 3 points, and I'm not going to stand for that. So I don't want any part of that one. Glad that happens. getting into the final segment here for the betting advice, just a couple of minutes. If you're interested in making 10 easy dollars, the easiest $10 of your life, just sitting on your couch watching sports, make the following bets. Because my bets always win, especially this week, even if they haven't won before. I broke even last week, it was fine. This week, 10 guaranteed bucks, $5 on each. I got the Eagles +8. Listen, +8 is a big spread. I get that they're not going to win the game, and I get that they're not favored against the Ravens, but this Eagles team is getting disrespected, okay? They beat the Niners whenever the Niners were better than they were last week, and they almost beat the Steelers. They hung with Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh might be the best team in the AFC at the moment, at least the most complete one. This Eagles team is better than you think. Carson Wentz is a top 5 quarterback. He's not surrounded by any type of support that would showcase that. But this Eagles team is better than +8 against Pittsburgh, so I will take that for sure. I also have the Rams -3.5. That's a bit... Having seen this 49ers defense last week getting dismantled by Ryan Fitzpatrick because they're signing people off the practice squad on Friday and they're starting on Sunday. That cannot lead to good results. No way. And -3.5 for this is, in my opinion, a bit of a conservative spread. I think this should be more in the -5 to -6 range for the Rams. I will take advantage of that. We're taking the Rams -3.5 to win. $5 on each game. Easy $10 made. Easiest money you've ever made in your life. Bet them. Put them in the bank, 100% guaranteed, as every week, especially this week. Those are my bets for this week. So, any closing thoughts?
I think that'll do it for this week. If you want to tune in to the Hurry Up Offense, the 5-minute fantasy football show, today's subject, or this week's subject, is bye weeks don't count anymore.
Huh, okay. I'm interested to hear what that's about. I've always have been struggling with having people on bye week on fantasy, so I'm definitely going to be tuning into that one. But that's coming up on this channel later, maybe today or tomorrow, so you'll be able to catch up on all your fantasy football needs before the weekend. But if we have nothing else to say, I want to thank everybody for watching. Drop us a like on the video, and we're going to see you in the next one.
Deuces!